Hello. Never in doubt.
Yeah, right.
Anyone who met me today will vouch for the fact that I was utterly convinced we would win that game comfortably. Okay. Where the hell did that come from, Stefan?
Well, it came from a combination of after the run we've just had, and the fact that they've obviously had some high intensity games, semi-finals in the cup and all that kind of thing. And I think the stars seem to align and we embrace the chaos.
I I can't believe I'm saying or admitting to this, but I actually missed the first half. I was working, tutoring, um, but I was obviously keeping an eye on the scoreline, and I was distracted on multiple occasions. But before we do that, the team news, because
Yeah.
it was all helter skelter, harem scarum for me today, and I had barely little time to digest the team news, to the extent that I haven't got my fancy graphic tonight. I think if it was a straightforward team selection, I may well have cobbled it together, but I couldn't work out quickly enough how we were setting up. But it struck me when I saw it, two things. One, change of formation I was pleased with. I wanted to go to Stamford Bridge and not concede a goal. Anything else was a bonus. That was so. And with El Neni as a much safer option, in guarding the back four, I thought that's kind of what he's doing. I'm not a coach for a reason. So what happened?
Well,
Just
I think
talk
you had the
through the
same.
first half.
If you were bemused by the lineup, Sky certainly were, because in their build-up, the amount of time they dedicated to, is it going to be a back four? Is it going to be a back five? Was just ridiculous. Because Arteta showed through the game that it could flex and it could change. And, there was a certain idea that when we weren't in possession, it was essentially a back five. Saka dropped as the sort of right wing back. White, Holding, Gabriel, and then Tavares on the other side. But when we had the ball, Saka would go, and Tavares might go sometimes, might not go other times. He kind of played it, by ear, as it were. But interesting, like you say, it was a more defensive lineup, especially with it can only be a more defensive when El Neni comes in. And yet, the first half was like a basketball game. It was ridiculous. And both teams, when playing at the back, just kept getting exposed. Ours was because, passes would go awry and they just wouldn't find their target, and then Chelsea would hit. And with them, it was very much sort of individual areas. Ball over the top. Christensen had an absolute mare.
He was hooked at half time, wasn't he?
Yeah, normally a defender I quite rate. I quite like him. He seems quite dependable, but he just eluded him. And Nketiah, did his job and pounced on those mistakes. And there was a point quite late on in the second half where it flashed up all the usual match stats. Every shot on target had gone in at that point. We'd had 3, they'd had 2, and it was 3-2 on target. That was. There was quite a few off target, but that summed up the game. It's just like any opportunity that was really carved open just led to a goal, and it was just bizarre what was going on.
Yeah, I was still. I think it was only when Saka's penalty hit the back of the net I relaxed in terms of not thinking we'd win. I just thought, all the way through, 1-0 up. Well, we scored too early, like the complete Eeyore I am. 1-0 up. Oh, we scored too early. 1-1. See, I told you they're going to go on and win it now.
Yeah.
2-1 up. Oh, we've scored that one too early. Like, we need to time it better. 2-2. See, told you. Right. We're going to lose this game. Typically, we'll have taken the lead twice and lose it 3-2. 3-2 up, and I'm like, oh well, of course, losing at 3-2 is not good enough. We're going to lose it 4-3. It was just ridiculous. I need to have a long, hard stare in the mirror, a stern chat with myself, and cop myself on, because my negativity is ridiculous.
But that's every football fan.
Yeah, I
And that's
think.
definitely every Arsenal fan has had exactly those same thoughts throughout the game. Yeah, absolutely.
And I did watch the second half quite nervously. There were a couple of Harem Scarum moments in our box. Ramsdale blocked. I can't make my mind up whether that was a really good save at the foot of the striker or whether he palmed it too central. I can't. But it didn't go in the net, so it was a good save.
Yeah.
But it was Ben White's pass to El Neni back in the centre of the 6-yard box. I was like, no, what are you doing? And El Neni, the calmest man in the stadium, just like, yeah, fine.
Well, you say that. The calmest man in the stadium was Granit Xhaka in the lead up to, I think, what was our second goal, when he nutmegged 2 Chelsea players in our own penalty box and then passed the ball forward to Odegaard to launch the attack. At that point, I'm thinking, what on earth is going on?
That was a fantastic goal, by the way.
It was amazing.
That was
also heart in the mouth kind of stuff. Like, this could go seriously wrong at any moment.
I think, I'm not sure, like you said, it's every fan for their club, but I'm convinced that it's just an Arsenal fan that can go from jumping behind the sofa, not prepared to watch, to 5 seconds later jumping in the air celebrating a goal. It's like, how does that happen in such a short space of time?
It's funny how players' reputations kind of like inform how we respond to them, because I don't know, if Van Dijk does that for Liverpool, you go, yeah, that's what he does. Yeah. If Granit Xhaka does it, you go, what are you doing? Just put your laces through it. Get rid.
Did you watch the Liverpool United game last night?
No. As you know, there's all sorts going on with my work at the moment, so I was very much in
preoccupied
mode, far too late into the evening. I'm not going to say anything because I worry that it might come back to haunt me later on. So I'm just going to leave that there.
Leave that there.
So in a moment where I stopped just to have a cup of tea and a break from it all, I switched it on and Liverpool were 2-0 up, and I went, all right, yeah, and then just turned it off. And the funny thing was, talking to a few people at work today, it's the lack of surprise. I just turned it on and went, oh yeah, Man U losing 2-0 to Liverpool. Yeah, of course.
Well, the only reason I watched it was because I was utterly convinced Man United would lose.
And you're scouting for the weekend, no doubt.
And I am, yes, absolutely. I was looking for red cards. Pogba went off injured. I'm not sure if that makes a difference.
Is that good?
I don't know. It might not.
I can't tell. I'm already in that mode as an Arsenal fan where I'm thinking, is our beating Chelsea, and especially the way we celebrated, I hate to get all Ruben Neves on us, but, you know, will that do us good or bad?
Yes.
United on Saturday.
No, because it's United. If it was Brighton or Palace, then yeah. But United require our 100% focus, no question. Just a shout out to someone today, Ved, who's a big Man United fan. I'm delighted for your misery, Ved. To see if you've got this far into watching this one.
I'm enjoying a bit of Schadenfreude at the moment because I found it absolutely glorious at the weekend when watching the Spurs Brighton game. The commentators informed us that at half time, Alan Mullery, is it? Who played for Tottenham and Brighton, actually, at half time, asked the Spurs fans to applaud Brighton for beating Arsenal the previous weekend, only for them to then lose, obviously, with a sort of, injury time winner from Brighton. And tonight, at the end of the game, Azpilicueta going over to face up to Chelsea fans, given, that it's the first time, I don't know if it's the first time, but it's certainly a notable occasion when they haven't been able to sell out. They've been reduced just to the season ticket holders. The sanctions are coming into play. And all that little bit of unrest, that little bit of, chip in the wallpaper, and suddenly all the plaster, I'm really hoping, starts to tumble because they've had it so good for so long. And,
Well, they're only 5 points ahead of us.
Yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but listen, we've been awful.
we're absolutely dreadful. You know, the fact that we've got the same record, exactly the same record. Spurs are only 8 goals ahead of us.
Yeah.
And they've got Kane and Son. You know, actually, they've got the best goal scorer in the league for the past, 5-6 years. Son, who's up there, they're the best partnership.
Yeah.
And we've got Lacazette and Nketiah. Actually, it's a miracle. We're even.
Yeah, I mean, it does say more about the other teams than us,
Yes.
possibly. It's
Man United buy arguably the best, or at least second best player in the world. They buy a world-class defender in Varane. They spend 80 million on Sancho and get worse. How do you do that?
I don't know.
Special skill.
I don't know, but I'm really pleased they've done it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's going to come back to bite me. They'll probably go and wallop us 3 or 4-0 at the weekend.
Yeah, retract it.
I'm sort of half expecting that, to be honest, after such a miraculous away win at Chelsea. Is crazy.
Yeah,
Football makes no sense. I love it.
No, football doesn't make. Yeah, yeah. Trying to predict this season is a fool's errand. Right. So. Yeah. So half time 2-2.
Well, first half, it was one of those things. Either Arteta tries to correct the defensive errors, which I think he sort of did. You know, second half, I think especially after we got the third one, it was a very much an away performance. You know, sit deep, try and hit on the counter. Cedric had that opportunity.
Oh, I was like, what was he doing?
Down,
yeah,
down.
Second yellow card. No,
really
hang on.
Right.
This seems an opportune moment for me to trot out my little pet peeve. That was a second yellow card for Sarr. Should have been sent off, irrespective of playing on. It was a free kick, a yellow card. Mason Mount, only 2 red card challenges today, 1 yellow card in result.
His tackle technique is very akin to what my tackle technique was when I used to play.
I think
you're
being generous.
See where your studs end up.
I think there was more. There was more intent with the second half one for sure, and he should have been got. He should have gone. Like, I don't. If we use the Xhaka scale, well, if Xhaka does either of those two, he's getting an 8-match ban. Yeah,
I definitely had that message in various Arsenal groups on WhatsApp. If that's Xhaka, he's getting a red card.
It's true.
To a point, there is a reputation.
And I, for me, John Moss is the worst of a very bad bunch of referees. I don't think his fitness levels, he cannot keep up with play. He just can't do it. He's not fit enough, which is amazing. And I know, and I'm going to give you the opportunity again. I know he has one redeemable quality, or not quality, aspects to his life that is worth in a nod to balance. You like him because,
well, he's a vinyl collector, record collector, and his record shop is called Vinyl Whistle. And I think
Vinyl Whistle,
there is a certain amount of self-awareness going on in there.
There is, and I wish him all the best. But I really wish he'd devote all his time to his record shop, because he doesn't cut it on a football pitch. That there was some dodgy. Having said that, we won the game and it didn't cost us this time. But so I thought there was nothing. Yeah, I just can't believe 4-2 Chelsea. I'm at a bit of a loss. Where was that performance?
Well,
how does that team lose 3 games?
The result is fantastic. I'm not sure the performance was actually that good.
But it is away at Chelsea, so you have to factor that in as well. It's not away at Southampton or home to Brighton. It's away to Chelsea.
But like we said last time, you look at the Palace game. For me, the performance was pretty appalling. That was just a no-show. Brighton was closer. There was a bit of fight.
Well, we had no energy. Last 10 minutes aside,
No,
we were flat.
And then Southampton was a vague improvement, but as a friend of mine said who was there, it was a bit aimless and directionless.
Well, we had like 21 attempts on goal, 5 on target in the Southampton game. I don't know what the stats are today. I don't know whether.
I don't think we've had nearly as many attempts, but it was such an open game. That's the thing. Chelsea played their part. It was almost like two teams trying to outdo each other for how bad defensively they could be.
Okay.
We took our chances. The fight was there, the effort, and you could see at the end how much it meant to everyone, because there's certainly a unity with the side.
Which is great. And the fans were brilliant. The fans were singing Arteta's song throughout the second half.
Yeah, I know loads of people who are there who just have an absolute whale of a time. At half-time, one of my friends messaged me as well, because the rest of us who couldn't go to the game were sort of messaging. And I said, this is crazy. There's no defending. There's just going to be goals after goals. And a friend of mine who was there went 5-3 again, maybe.
Yeah.
Which would have been a callback. We weren't far off. But
okay, so name your team against United on Saturday. I'm pretty sure I know what he'll do.
I don't think I'd go too different, but I'm not sure. I think Cedric comes back in and he goes to the back four at home. I think that's what he does. Holding for me, I mean, he where the difference was, El Neni hasn't played for ages, came in, did all right, actually, held his own, stuck to his task, did his job. Holding came in, having not played for a long time, and looked so far off the pace. And against United, I mean, we came through against Chelsea.
Yeah, I can't see.
It gave us more presence up front. It allowed Odegaard and Smith Rowe to buzz around, and
I can't see him changing it against United now. I think why? First of all, why would you? It's not like and it's not like it's a weaker opposition, or a notably weaker opposition that we should dominate at home. And it might nullify their counter attack as well. It depends on what team United put out. Obviously, Ronaldo didn't play against Liverpool, and I don't know what his state of mind will be, and whether he'll make himself available for our game. Interestingly, when Pogba went off, Lingard came on, not Sancho, but Sancho looks a lot livelier when he did eventually come on. That they were missing, like McTominay didn't play, Fred didn't play, Varane didn't play, Ronaldo wasn't there. And I don't know, I know McTominay was on the bench. I don't know about how long these players are out for. So I think that, I don't think it'll be too difficult to make sure that we are up for it against United. I mean, we are kind of, I know we said this on Saturday, kind of it's the hope that kills you, but we have kind of ignited a realistic hope for fourth spot. Again, we're in a much better position at 10 p.m. this evening than we were at 7:30 p.m. And I'd have taken a draw before the game started. I'd have been happily.
We both said that before.
Yeah. So, because I think Saka as a right wing back, I think because of that flexibility with or without the ball, we don't lose his impact up front. And what was really good is, like, he got a goal, Smith Rowe got a goal, and goals tend to come in patches. Smith Rowe hasn't scored for a while after having scored in consecutive games prior to that. As an attacking force, we were good.
And Nketiah getting two, his work was generally good. He didn't exactly blow me away, but you can't grumble with the chances he took. He pounced on errors, and for a striker of his type, he's not a blistering pace of Aubameyang. He's not the hold-up merchant that seemed to think that Lacazette was, but seems to have faded. He feels like a throwback as a striker.
However, he is faster than Lacazette, and he's maybe better at harrying than Aubameyang.
Yeah, so he's
You
a
know,
little
because
bit. But then,
yeah,
to me, that says jack of all trades, kind of master of none.
and I
But
think
at
that's
the moment,
uh,
it's probably what we need. Yeah,
and I think that's what he is. Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
kind of, you know, your fox in the box as well. But what he's proved today is that he can actually produce against the top team
yeah.
and away from home. Whereas the accusation that was thrown at him before was that, yeah, you know, he's really good in
Lower
the
leagues.
lower, yeah, against the lower league opposition in the League Cup earlier rounds or the Europa League, but he hasn't done it consistently on at a Premier League level. And I guess the defence there is he's not really had that great an opportunity, not like Lacazette has. I mean, I wonder if Nketiah had played all the minutes that Lacazette had played, how many goals he would have got. I wonder, in a parallel universe, I wonder what position we'd be in.
Yeah.
I suspect we might be better off than we are.
Yeah, I mean, to look at the table is to see just the difference between the draws and losses gets me. You know, winning a certain amount of games, you know, we're probably not a huge amount far away, but some of those defeats that could have been turned into draws.
Yeah, that's it.
Really,
Like one,
really sickening.
yeah, that 1 point, you know,
Yeah,
that 1 point would have us now clear in fourth, and it would change the psychology of the Spurs game, for example.
yeah.
Having said that, I don't want to have. No, I don't. I'm not saying. I don't mean this really, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. If you have to go to Spurs, or if you go to Spurs and you don't have to win, you don't want to be caught between the two stools like that. I'd go there. We have to. If we go there knowing we have to win, I think
I
that
think the
sets
way
the
this is
attitude.
playing out, it's going to go to the wire. It's far too close for people to get ahead of themselves, because, you know, I don't envisage us getting maximum points, and I don't envisage them. I don't envisage United getting maximum points. Well, someone's going to lose out on Saturday between us, and that's the thing. We've got to play Tottenham. We've got to play United. Tottenham have got to go to Liverpool. Is that right?
Yeah.
So,
But
it's every game is going to matter.
But we lost 3 games in a row at the start of the season, and then we won the next 5.
Yeah, yeah.
That will see us through, because that will involve having beaten the 3 teams around us as well as Chelsea.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that would be lovely, but, you know, we'll see. Because at the same time, the squad is still very thin. You know, the fact that Lokonga dropped out for El Neni to come in shows that, you know, the faith in some of the players around the squad is still not quite there. The fact that Nketiah keeps his place when Lacazette becomes available again. You know, there's no sure thing. We're still trying things out. Pepe, where was he?
I mean, that's the real. I mean, if you've got, you know, one axe to grind with Arteta, it's his use of Pepe, maybe, or lack.
We don't see what goes on behind the scenes.
No.
Right? How does Pepe train? What does Pepe say in their conversations on a day-to-day basis? You know, what does Arteta feel he's getting from him? Because it can't be enough. It can't.
Well, he talked him up after he returned from the African Cup of Nations. Yeah. He really did talk him up, and then
he had a great spell at the end of last season, and it's all.
Well, he scored 16 goals last season. It
was evaporated. It's just gone.
You know, in a team that needs goals.
Yeah.
But I was,
you know, he's got form.
I was pleased to see Nketiah start with Lacazette on the bench. I think,
yeah,
you know, that because the temptation might have been just to go with what you know. Now Nketiah has to start against Man United. You know, he can't not start him. He's just scored 2 goals. Nketiah did an interview with a YouTube channel. I can't remember the name, but I didn't watch it. Sorry?
Copper 90?
No, it was like the big... they're a football podcast YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he was really honest about... I didn't watch it all. I just saw snippets of it. He came across as someone who loved the club and was desperate to succeed with the club, but he just wants more minutes.
Yeah.
At this stage in his career, he said this is the hardest season of his life. And as a fan, do you know what? Until I watched that, I didn't think for a second about how he was feeling as a person this year, but the frustration.
We never do.
No, we don't. But once he said that, he came across as, brutally honest, but genuine. And, we've said ourselves that he looked like he wasn't making an effort sometimes when he came on. That just wasn't true. He talked through, and I can't remember now, he talked through the context of his sub appearances. Yeah. And you could see the frustration that he was being brought on when the team was set up to defend a lead, or when he was brought on and the team wasn't in a position to create anything for him. And then he compared it to times when he had, instead of like 6 or 7 minutes, 20, 25 minutes. And he talked about the differences he made, like in the Brighton game. I mean, he hit the woodwork and he had that save tipped over.
Header? Oh, God.
Yeah. So, and I thought, do you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
And I'd not considered that. And so I'm delighted for him tonight. I'm delighted for me, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, but I'm delighted for him as well, that actually he got his start, he got his full match, he got his night, or not quite his full match. He got his 2 goals that he earned as well. He did really well. Part of a winning team away from home at a big 3. That's not happened much. My last trip to Stamford Bridge saw us lose 6-0 when we had the case of mistaken identity, the wrong player sent off. And he's earned, and I mean, look, do you know what? I got the impression that he wasn't discounting leaving, that it's not 100% guaranteed that he won't be an Arsenal player next season. But I think a lot depends on his playing time. Now, Lacazette's not going to be there. That's quite clear.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm okay with that. Balogun, I think another loan, but maybe to a Premier League club would be good.
But it depends who we get in. If we spend 50, 60, 70 million on another striker, that striker is going to walk into the side just because of the investment. So,
but if Nketiah, does really well over the next 6 or 7 games, then it might mean that we don't need to buy a second striker. Now, he's got to be realistic. He hasn't earned the right to be a first choice striker yet. He's not had the opportunity either, I guess, but he has to start against Man United. And do you know what? If he does well against United, scores a goal or 2, and we win the game, I mean, you can't ask for more than that against those 2 teams. And for him, worst case scenario for him, he's guaranteed himself a far more attractive offer in the summer from another Premier League club.
Yeah.
And another Premier League club like a West Ham, a Wolves, a Leicester, maybe, not an upper mid-range Premier League club. United and Liverpool and Chelsea, they're not going to go for him. Spurs, not either. But below that, that, and good luck to him. He's a nice lad. I was impressed with his honesty and his kind of vulnerability. I thought it was a nice little reminder that there's a human aspect to these footballers, and it's too often kind of shielded behind, they're on such big salaries, and you cut them, they still bleed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but anyway, I got get a bit deep, and we won 4-2. Let's sing the Arteta song. I don't know. I've got all the musicality of a piece of timber, but you are quite good and creative. You could actually.
I have created 1 or 2 very cringeworthy sort of ideas, but what I quite liked was the away end chanting
Yes.
at Chelsea about how there's no one there and it's just like the old days.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nobody here. It's just like the old
Lovely bit
days.
of humour.
There's nobody here. And I remember those days when it was you took your life in your hands down
My
there.
wife was saying, "What do they mean by that?" And I was like, "Well, it's funny enough. In the sort of mid to late 80s and early 90s, no one went to Chelsea.
Yeah,
they weren't the thing, really.
No, they were not. That was it. Chelsea, really, you ain't got no history. I don't know the rest of that song. Well, at least I'm not admitting to it. But yeah, absolutely. And it's like again, this is going to come up a lot over the weekend and over the next few weeks as well on this podcast. My first hate is Manchester United. It's a close run thing with United and Spurs, but I know it's just because of my personal history. But my pet hate is Manchester United. I seem to derive too much enjoyment from Spurs and Spursiness to hate them, even though I suffered physically at a Spurs game in 1999, which ended with a very painful trip to hospital. So I should really have more antagonism or a hatred for Spurs, but they just do provide a lot of fun. And I can't help it. So, but don't get me wrong, I want them to lose like really badly every game they play. So behind those two, then there's obviously Chelsea. I have no respect for Chelsea. I don't like them at all, and I don't get any. I think the only time I enjoyed a Chelsea game was when they stopped Spurs winning the league. That was fun, but that was more about the
Battle of the Bridge.
Oh, yeah, God, that was when
glorious.
But when Spurs did an amazing thing of finishing third in a 2-horse race, which is just brilliant because we finished second and no one talks about that.
Oh,
so getting a 4-2 win. Hang on, and Chelsea beat us 2-0 at home, like second game of the season. When remember, it was one of the three this year. It was one of the three, the first 3 games we lost, and they kind of held us back at arm's length and just toyed with us. When Lukaku destroyed us, and yet today he was non-existent.
Something's happened there, hasn't he? He had that game against Crystal Palace where he had like 7 touches.
Yeah,
Tommy Tuchel just doesn't fancy him.
No,
just doesn't like it. Whereas Werner, a player most people had written off, he's in a little bit of form. Goal tonight, deflected, and goal at the weekend, or goals at the weekend, and so yes.
You've got just your pronunciation of the Chelsea manager reminded me of Arsblog. I have very few laugh at. No, Tommy Tickles. He calls him Tommy Tickles.
Tommy Tickles.
So I just think it was a laugh out loud moment for me when I was reading it when he called him Tommy Tickles, and I just thought it was quite funny. Tuchel, actually, was slagging off Chelsea, but actually, as a manager, I really like him. As a person, he comes across really well.
Well, it's interesting because I remember talking with a colleague at work about when they sacked Lampard. I felt that Lampard was quite harshly done by, and they were doing all right, and it wasn't great. Tuchel comes in, a couple of little tweaks, they go on to win the European Cup, and you're like, yeah, maybe actually there's a step. He's just a little step higher. Yeah,
Tuchel's slightly more experienced than Lampard. But no, so I don't know. What were the other results tonight? Man City beat Brighton 3-0.
Go back to the top, yeah.
So they're back to the top. So Liverpool, that's good because Liverpool then there's still the pressure on. When do Liverpool play Spurs?
I don't know. I was just looking at next. So the next round of fixtures at the weekend, we play United in the early game. Spurs have got Brentford away.
Yeah, now I think that's a potential banana skin, but
don't know.
Well, it's like
Brentford are probably safe now,
but they've not lost a game
since Tony came back.
Since Eriksen,
and since
Eriksen has it. So.
Oh, Eriksen to score against his old club. Oh,
You like your narratives. You like your
narrative.
narratives.
I love a narrative in football. That's definitely going to happen. Okay, right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, but Spurs will react probably from the Brighton defeat. I don't know.
But listen,
I hope it's tricky, and I hope they struggle, and I hope they drop points. But I'm not.
well, let's beat United first.
Well, this is the thing. If we like it, it's literally in our hands.
Yeah.
And that is the worst place that I'd wanted to be.
Okay. But I said this to you before and you scoffed, and then it came true.
Yeah.
Spursiness.
Yeah, all right.
Right? And they did it against, I mean, look, they could be 3 points ahead of us with a far superior goal difference, and we still have to play United.
Yeah. United is an interesting one because obviously they play us, but then midweek next week, they play one
Chelsea.
of their sort of catch-up games against Chelsea, or certainly a rescheduled game. So they've got Chelsea on the Thursday afterwards.
But look at Chelsea on Sunday. Chelsea are playing West Ham on
Chelsea
Sunday.
West Ham on the Sunday, and then Man United again on the Thursday. So they are in a run of games, and I don't know.
Yeah, listen, Chelsea are they're 8 points safe at the moment, as in safe, as in above fifth place.
Yeah.
But there's 3 games they could lose.
There are 3 games. Now you're looking up at Chelsea, and I'm thinking that actually they could be vulnerable against West Ham and United, who could then make ground on us. So if we don't do our job against United, we could be even bloody lower. See,
I've assumed that Chelsea will beat West Ham, and that puts West Ham, that kind of helps secure us in 6th spot. And now I know I've said this before, and that came back to haunt me.
I'm not sure they will beat West Ham. I think West Ham are on.
But I think you'll get a reaction from Chelsea now because they will realise that.
Well, he'll be able to call back on the likes of Havertz, and Thiago Silva will come back in. I mean, Havertz is just a quality player.
Yeah,
he just glides through the game. We were talking about like Eddie Nketiah's demeanour, and I remember Ozil obviously got a lot of stick for that as well, because I think in terms of British culture, we like players running around with veins pumping out of their neck and bandages around their head, all blood-stained and everything like that. But obviously, modern footballers are athletes and they play the game a certain way. But yeah, Havertz is just one of those. He just sort of glides
around,
pops up where
and got an edge to him. Difficult to he looks very slight, but he's deceptively strong as well.
In that sense, he's a bit like Bergkamp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bergkamp was obviously a bit, but could give as good as he got.
I'm just looking. Man United have to play Chelsea on the 28th, so that's only like next Thursday.
That's the Thursday midweek game. Yeah.
That's like 8 days. So, God, a lot's going to change in the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Right. So, hang on.
I'm not predicting anything. We've just got to beat Man United. Just get something from the United game. That's all I want.
Okay, so on Sunday, the 1st of May, we are away to West Ham at 4:30.
Yes.
Spurs are at home to Leicester at 2:00.
Yeah.
Man United play Brentford at home on the Monday. However, my question: Can you find out? Can you look it up when West Ham's Europa League semi-finals are?
Right. Okay. I think it is before we play them on that bank holiday. So they'll have played on the Thursday in the Europa League,
and we play them on the Sunday, and then they play again on the following Thursday. That would be brilliant.
Well. Yeah.
Look it up. Find out. Can you find out? I want to know. I need to know.
Hold on.
Like, I'm utterly exhausted and a full day tomorrow. And I know I can't complain about my gig at the moment, knowing the 2 days you've got. But I need to know when West Ham's Europa League games are, because that's really important.
I don't know if the fixture thing I've got goes that far ahead. Oh, no, yeah. West Ham play the night that Man United play Chelsea on the 28th.
Brilliant. And when's their second leg?
The second leg will be the following Thursday, the 5th.
That is just beautiful. You took Spurs. I mean, we've got to take advantage of that. But
we have to.
But the fact is, who are West Ham playing? By the way, I don't know.
Frankfurt, isn't it?
So I wonder, is their first game home or away?
They're at home first.
Right. Okay. So with any luck, they'll still be in it. I mean, I hope they win it. I hope they win the Europa League. I would love them to win the Europa League.
Rangers West Ham final will be tasty. Oh my god.
Where is it? Are they sending them off to
Is it Seville?
Azerbaijan again?
No, I think it's Sevilla.
Really? So they get to go to
Yeah.
Seville, and I had to go to. Where did I have to go to? What's the
Baku.
Baku? Yeah. Oh God. No wonder I've forgotten it.
Baku to the future. So
Yeah.
a friend of mine who he tends to go most away games and certainly in Europe and things like that. When we lost to Brighton, he did message our little group that we've got saying, "Look on the bright sides, lads. The Europa League final next year is in Budapest."
Oh. That's at least a destination we can get as far as. I don't know how the war situation will be.
Well, that is another
there.
We'll gloss over that.
Yeah, but
so yeah.
Right. So look, I know. Look, you look for the little potential. Like, so when Spurs played West Ham had just got through the Europa League quarterfinal extra time on the Thursday. They were without Jared Bowen. Now, there's no way David Moyes, if the game is still in the balance, I don't want them to be 4-0 up against Frankfurt. That wouldn't be good. I don't want them to feel too confident. But there's no way that he's going to prioritise the Arsenal League game over a second leg semi-final. It's like, so any players that will be rested, benched, will be for our game, not for the semi-final. So we'll see. You're not thinking right at the end of the penalty decision. I mean, what the hell was Azpilicueta complaining about? It was a penalty all day long. Saka was very clever, and Azpilicueta was angry at himself, probably more so. But Gabriel getting involved.
Why did he get involved?
Like, what are you doing?
When Xhaka is telling you to calm down,
you
look at yourself in the mirror and just have a word.
All I kept thinking was North London Man United game on Saturday. I don't want a red card. I don't want, those two at the back broken. I know they were split up today, kind of, but you didn't want any more missing players. Because I think Gabriel has had a dip in form in those 3 games. I thought he was better tonight. Yeah. But he's a brilliant player and has been brilliant all season. But he definitely, and his dip in form was misplaced passes, a bit too casual, and it wasn't getting turned over or anything like that. It was more a concentration thing. A newborn baby, perhaps, distracted, sleepless nights, whatever.
Are you feeling a certain affinity?
I certainly am. I'm thinking, look at the time now, 11:15. I've got about 4 hours left before I've got to get up. Not true. I don't know. I'm rambling a bit now. I've gone over like 5 different topics in the last 3 minutes.
It's because we're ecstatic and we don't really know where that has come from. We were expecting to come on here and moan and go, so when is it going to end? When are we going to get a win? And to have that it's a great result and hopefully one we can build on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that.
So I'll ask you. You looking forward to Saturday?
No. It's as I've alluded to already. It's the Man United games are the 2 games I look forward to least. I don't enjoy them. Like, you ask me. I know I've had the good fortune to have attended many Arsenal games, some very iconic games. 2 of the most iconic games have been against Manchester United. The semi-final in '99 at Villa Park, the Ryan Giggs goal. I was there. It was the only time, the Bergkamp penalty miss, where I hadn't been drinking. I nearly threw up on the terraces as a response to the nerves of something that happened on the pitch in front of me. We should have won the double that year. Man United won the treble. I will never, ever, I will carry that to the grave. To balance that a little bit was the FA Cup final in Cardiff, where they absolutely battered us. We had no business winning that cup. We won it on penalties with Vieira's last kick of the game. There's your lovely narrative there. And do you know what? I enjoyed not a nanosecond of that game until Vieira's penalty hit the back of the net. And at that moment, it was the absolute best way to have beaten United in an FA Cup final. The injustice of it, the I don't know if that's a word. What have I just said? The injustice, the unjustness of it. I don't know. It was just perfect. If I could have scripted a way to win the FA Cup final, that would have been the way. And it's why you have the likes of Ferdinand on the telly. They do not like Arsenal. They are still bitter about that final and other things as well, but that final in particular. Obviously, then you've got the Van Nistelrooy moment, and going back further, the Brian McClare and Nigel Winterburn moment. I don't know how aware you are of that, but I wasn't. I'm look. I can't sit still. I'm getting agitated now.
I've since obviously become familiar with it. Yeah,
it's Anders Limpar, the 21-man brawl at Old Trafford. You know, it's a fixture steeped in antagonism and hate for me. And one of my best friends is a Man United fan, and we talk football all the time, but we never talk about Arsenal United. We just don't. It's a taboo topic. We don't go there. We'd end up rolling in fisticuffs around the place. It just doesn't happen. So no, I will not enjoy the game. I've got a chiropractor at 8 a.m. I've got a tutor session I've got to deliver at 9:15 for an hour. I forgot completely that the game was a 12:30 kickoff. I will make it to the ground in time. I don't live that far away, so that's not a problem. But it's good. The chiropractor, the pain will take my mind off it. The tutoring will take my mind off it. And then I've got a limited window to get to the ground. I'll be concentrating on the driving. If I don't make it to the ground, I've obviously not concentrated on the driving, and I've managed to come a cropper somewhere. I will hate the game. I will only relax if we go 5-0 up with 4 minutes to go. And I'm just desperate to win the game. And we have to win it. It's for like lots of reasons, but for my mental health as well, as much as anything. And there's a few annoying Man United supporters at school, so I can not suffer their ribbing the next day or the next week.
So here's a question then. So I've told you my plans are slightly different because we normally get a supporters club coach down, but there's no travel available this week. So me and a mate are driving down. We're probably going to change up our routine. So where would you recommend eating before the game? Well, you're shaking your head, but the last, we've kept the same routine and we lost to Brighton. So
okay.
I'm not too worried about
that. I know where you eat. You have a bit of a fry up in the Titanic on Holloway Road, and I'm a big fan of that place and have been for a couple of decades. So I'm not convinced.
See, we're probably going to come in because we'll get the tube and we'll
Finsbury Park
end, Finsbury Park side. Yeah. So I mean, obviously the 12 pins, but they don't do food. There's lots of fast food around there, but
there's lots of fast food. I don't have a. There's the Gunners Cafe on. Is it?
It's on the Blackstock. Is that
Blackstock Road? Yeah. Blackstock Road.
I've been there of a morning when we've stopped over before. Yeah, I've gone there. I remember one time I went to a gig with a pal of mine, and he's a Tottenham fan. And when we got up in the morning, I said, "Oh, we'll go to a cafe, get some football first before we go." I took him to the Arsenal cafe. He's like, "You're joking, aren't you?" It's like,
yeah. No, nothing wrong with that at all.
We were staying at a hotel overlooking Finsbury Park, so I thought, well, it's only a couple of minutes away.
Logical choice. If it made him feel uncomfortable, all the better.
Yeah. This is the same Tottenham fan who actually messaged me while the Chelsea game was going on with the old-fashioned joke of, I've heard a story that Arsenal players have been banned from having dogs because they can't hold on to a lead.
Hey.
So I'll be doubling down on him as soon as we're finished and sending him all sorts of
friendly,
as it were, on WhatsApp. No.
See, and that's the thing. Arsenal's win tonight. It's not just about, and this is the pettiness of the football fan. I'm not just delighted for Arsenal. I'm also getting an awful lot of joy out of knowing that every Spurs fan watching that game would be like, "What?"
Yeah.
The bonus drop points were your Southampton and your Brighton and your Palace. This was a nailed-on dropped 3 points, like Man United last night, and they've gone and won it.
Yeah.
Now, our
Did
Spurs
we
are
not-
getting nervous.
Did we not have the same feeling when they beat City? They took 6 points off City.
Yes, that's unforgivable.
It's just crazy. Football is mental.
Yeah. And the United fans as well will be rightly peeved off that we beat Chelsea, especially because hang on, do Spurs have to play Chelsea yet? Is that done? No, I think they've done. No, I think that's done. It's only Liverpool and Arsenal are the two bigger games for Spurs. But like you say, it's in. Do you know what? It's because we all play each other. It's in all our hands still. If United win all their remaining games, they finish fourth. If we win all our games, we'll finish fourth. If Spurs win all their games, they'll finish fourth. Or actually, to be fair, Chelsea would probably be knocked down.
Spurs have got such an easy run.
Yep.
Oh my god, it's so easy.
But we've got Chelsea away out of the way. That was that's another one ticked off.
Still, so who's West Ham and Spurs though? So
run down Spurs' fixtures from here.
Brentford this weekend, then Leicester.
Leicester at home.
Tricky,
right?
Tricky, but should win. Then Liverpool, which we assume they'll lose. Fingers crossed. Then us. Then we've got to play each other, obviously. But after they play us, they've got Burnley, then Norwich, and we've got Newcastle and Everton.
And Newcastle's away.
Newcastle is away.
They've just won 6 games in a row at home.
Oh, they drew tonight, but
no, they won 1-0.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I thought it was 1-1.
Almiron scored. Leicester and Everton drew 1-1.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we beat Chelsea away.
Yeah, that's the hardest game on paper that we had left. Spurs away, obviously, but right. Yeah. Shall we quit while we're just about to dip?
I will see you at probably what will be just as they kick off. That's when you'll finally arrive into your seat.
I reckon realistically, I should be there by 45 minutes before.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I should. I think 10:30, 11:30. Yeah, I should be 11:45 should be the latest I'll be getting into the ground. I think tonight's guaranteed a white hot atmosphere there anyway. I think that's which is good.
Forward to that.
Yeah.
I might wear, because especially now the weather's warmed up, I might don my colours a little bit more than I normally do.
Yeah, maybe. Come on, yeah. I'll obviously wear black.
I mean, I always have a shirt on, but it's just been cold.
Covered up, yeah. I don't know what the forecast is for Saturday, but
I'm seeing a lot of winds. Now we're small holders. Saturday there's wind, so we always have to worry about things blowing over and freaking animals out.
Right, okay. But Norfolk's quite flat, isn't it?
Norfolk is very flat, but the things built are upright.
Yeah, so it's kind of more exposed, whereas the Emirates Stadium might not be so like the pitch might be a bit more shielded. Right, on this really enlightening weather chat, I think I'll work out how to end the broadcast. There we go. There's the button. Right, brilliant. We'll look forward to Saturday with a far greater spring in our step. It's only a few days. Anyway, yeah, nice one. Catch you later.
Cheerio.